try to read 4 books in 4 days. Now, I know that that is a very hard task because a lot of the books that I read are just, I mean, they're not like 100 pages, you know what I mean? And obviously I read throughout the day. And I feel like a lot of people think that every booktuber reads throughout the day, but a lot do not, and myself included. I feel like the booktubers who don't read during the day are usually the ones whose sole job isn't just on YouTube. You guys know I share on TikTok and Instagram, and so I work with a bunch of really cool businesses over there. So obviously I'm editing and filming and stuff for that throughout the day. So I never read throughout the day. It is extremely rare. But this week I'm gonna try to read 4 books in 4 days. Obviously I still won't be reading during my work day. I usually read in the morning before work at 5 a.m. I try to read every morning before work, and then right after work. Right now it is 5:30, so this is the time where I will usually get my book out and try to read outside for a little bit. You guys can see. Does it always happen? No, but we're going to try to read 4 books in 4 days and then reward ourselves by going to the bookstore. Is that silly? Probably. It is a little windy out, so hopefully you guys can hear me, but I do have a book here that I want to read. It's by an author that I absolutely love. This is the book that I want to read. It's the first day of October, and it's so wild because I'm actually really craving to read a romance, but in this video I could read fantasy, romance, thriller. I literally don't know. I'm such a mood reader, but I've been craving to read a romance, and I think it's because I've been reading so much historical fiction. So I'm just coming back to my roots. So this is what I want to read right now. I think I'm going to try to read this book and finish it today. Maybe order DoorDash for tonight. I feel like cleaning takes so much additional time, just cleaning and making dinner and all that stuff. So if I DoorDash, I feel like that'll be a way to kind of have more reading time. Also, I will be here by myself most of the night because Brady, he's gonna be gone for a little dinner with some work event situation thing. So yeah, it's just gonna be me for most of the night, which is gonna be very cozy, and I figured that we could read together and just enjoy our time alone. I love time with Brady, and I love solo time. I feel like whenever I'm alone, instead of being sad or, oh, it's getting windy, hopefully you guys can hear me, but instead of being sad or being I'm by myself, I turn it into a moment. So I might have a bath tonight or do something like that. It should be really fun. It got cold, so I had to put this blanket over me because I am literally freezing out here. I just got to chapter 6 and audibly gasped, and I'm not even kidding. This book is so good so far. I'm only on page 46, so I still have a ways to go to really get into it, but I feel like I can always tell if I really like a book by page 50, and I'm almost at page 50 and literally hooked. And I have just been in the mood to binge read books, and I think it's because I read Brittany Cherry's second book, The Fire Between High and Low in the Elements series, and literally read it in 24 hours, and you guys saw that in one of my last videos that I shared, if you watched my wrap up. And I have not read a book that fast in a really long time, and I want that feeling again. I love that feeling. I just, whenever I don't want to put a book down, I don't want to do anything else, not that I haven't had books that I loved. I've definitely had a lot of books that I've been obsessed with, but they haven't given me that feeling that's like, I have to read it. You know what I mean? Like, I cannot put it down. And sometimes those books are 5 stars and sometimes they're not. Like the Fire Between High and Low, I'd say was definitely like a 4-star read. Incredible story. But it didn't give me like 5-star feels, but it still was so good. Like one of those I did not want to put down. And I'm hoping to have that same feeling with this book. I think sometimes that comes from a story that is like, has a lot of twists and turns. I feel like I get that a lot with thrillers more than probably anything, and not normally with romances, but I've been trying to find romances that give me that feeling, and I feel like the ones that'll give me that feeling are the ones that have a lot going on. So loving this so far. I ordered DoorDash, I ordered Sonic, so that's going to be here pretty soon, so I'll probably go inside whenever the food's here, but I'm going to sit outside and read a little bit more. The banter in this is really good. It's super funny, but there's also a lot about the main character that we don't know, and the mystery is keeping me intrigued. There's something about when I read a story and like I don't know everything about the characters and I'm still learning about them that just keeps me on the edge of my seat. I just put together a little boo basket for one of my besties, and I am going to be sharing this on Instagram, so you guys will have to go there to see like everything that's in it, but I'm going to show you some of the things that I put in it. If you don't know what a boo basket is, it's pretty much just a little like fall themed basket. I put pretzels in there, lots of little snacks, and some candles, and I have this little like drink thing. They like a little ghost pumpkin decorating kit, some spices that'll go in your cider if you want like a pumpkin spice latte or something like that, little pumpkin, and this is not real by the way, so they can use it as decor in their house. Also an apple crisp mix and a candle, and then you guys see this little blanket, super soft. But I also put 4 books in here. I just love doing things for my friends, and I also love being festive. So I decided to put in Funny Story, and I also put in First Lie Wins. And then this right here is Bride by Ali Hazelwood. And then this one is the newest book by Maya Ariel. I can't think of the name right now. It's called Win something or other. But I am really excited for my bestie who's gonna get this. I just wanted to put it together for them because I thought that they would enjoy it. I love books with banter that makes the characters feel real. I'm on page 71, and Sierra's about to pick up some like drums or flats from like for dinner, and she goes, drums or flats? And then Lincoln, the like main character of the book, he goes, you take me for some kind of amateur, drums all day baby. And she enters a gif of James Harden rolling his eyes and walking away, and she said, well, it was nice knowing you, buddy. And he goes, who the F likes the flats the best? And she goes, I do, Link, I do. It's the only correct answer, you heathen. At least tell me what you dip your wings in. And he goes, a wing that's made correctly needs no dipping sauce, but I can F with some lemon pepper or hot sauce. And she's like, okay, you have my attention. He goes, let's be real, I never lost it. She said, impossible, man. I'm literally, I can't. I love them. Like, just their banter between each other is so cute, but also I feel like the author's really setting up like the tension and making you fall in love with both of them individually and together. There definitely is some like baggage between both of them, and I don't know all of it yet, which I also feel like makes this book feel really intriguing. I don't know, this book is really good so far. This day is also literally giving fall because I got a cider donut when I was at the apple barn. It's kind of smashed because I smashed it in the car, but I got it because I wanted to eat it while I was out here, and it is literally the perfect little snack, and I have a really pretty view too. I don't think I showed you anything that I picked up from Home Goods other than like the stuff that I used for the little boo bag or boo basket. So I want to show you guys a few things. I ended up picking up this right here. I have not decorated for fall at all. Granted, it's just like the first week of October, so I don't know why I'm like overthinking it, but going into like Home Goods and seeing that they already have Christmas decorations up and there aren't nearly as many fall decorations as a few weeks ago made me think like, is fall already over? Like, have I missed it? And I feel like it's just like, I got that thought because we think about the future so much and we're constantly like planning for the future, and I feel like we don't really live in the moment. So like the stores are already prepping for like Halloween and they're prepping for Christmas. Like there's tons of Christmas stuff out, but that does not mean that I can't enjoy where I'm at right now. So I got this, I just want to put this like on my table, and I also got like a cute little runner that I want to show you guys. I did pick up a cherry pie while I was there, and I'm really excited to eat this. It was made literally today. And then I got this candle. It's in the shape of a little pumpkin, which is so cute, and it was actually the same price as a regular candle. And this is the runner that I got. I think it's so cute. It has little pumpkins underneath, but I don't really like want to see those. I feel like the orange is just fine, and you can just barely see the pumpkins underneath there. I think it's really cute, and it's giving grandma vibes, which is literally what I was hoping for. I also got this candle, which I absolutely love. It's in the shape of a pumpkin, and it's huge. You can see that it's literally like the size of this book pretty much, and that's what I wanted. I like to get really large candles for the books on my coffee tables and just like putting them on top, and it just like adds a lot of dimension, which I really love. I will link this coffee table below too. It's one of my favorite talking pieces. So many people ask about it. All these books I finished, but I like to keep them here, and if anyone wants to borrow something, they can just grab a book from the coffee table. It's such a great talking piece. I love it so much. I'm getting ready to make steaks tonight, and I think that I'm going to start this on audiobook. I'm almost done with the other book that I've been reading, and I've been loving it, but I like to listen to audiobooks whenever I'm like cooking, cleaning, or anything like that. And I feel like this is going to be the perfect book for that. This is a young adult coming of age story, but I think what's really cool about this is that it kind of turns a lot of stereotypes on their head. It's about a girl who likes video games, and she's like not super popular, but she's like really confident in that. And there's a guy who's like, I think pretty popular. I think that they like, their worlds collide in some way. So I'm excited to read this. I'm gonna start it on audiobook and then probably finish it in physical form. I like to tandem read a lot because whenever I am doing things that I like can't physically sit down, it makes the reading experience so nice because I don't have to just wait till the end of the night. And I do need to like load the dishwasher. I'm gonna make steaks tonight. We're gonna have this cherry pie. Like, I am really excited to get into this, but I'm gonna start it on audiobook and I will finish it in physical form. I completely take back what I said about young adult books. Initially I was like, I don't think I like young adult books anymore. Like, I just don't know if it's my vibe. No, I love young adult books like this. Like, even if there isn't spice, the tension in this book is immaculate. I feel like this writing feels like an adult book, and I feel like a lot of the time whenever I read young adult, I just am like, it feels young adult, you know what I mean? Like, it just, the way it's written usually seems like really younger and doesn't have like the depth that I'm looking for, but I think I'm realizing it definitely still does. I just need to find the right books, and this one definitely has that. So what I love about this book that the author is doing is she is making the, like, all stereotypes just be like turned on their head. So one in particular, the main character, who's a girl, she's like the nerdy girl, but she's very confident in her, like what she loves and like what she, like who she is. And she's like not like scared to tell people that, even though like the crux of the book is like she plays video games and she's been like keeping it a secret. But I get the reason why she keeps it a secret. She keeps it a secret because she's like, if people on the game knew that I was a girl, they would treat me differently. But she's not like ashamed of like what she does. Like she loves it. And the main guy character, he's like popular, and he's actually trying to get back with his ex-girlfriend because she's like wanting to take a break with him, which I feel like is so rare. Like you don't ever see that in books really. I feel like you usually see like the girl pining after the guy, especially if he's like popular, and he's a popular guy and cannot get his girl to like want to be with him again. So I love that. Also, the mom is dating this pastor, and she's like a very strong feminist. Like she's just always told her daughter to be like very independent. And the daughter is just kind of like, why are you dating this guy who like seems like he's not the type of guy that you want to be with? And she kind of learns that maybe all the stereotypes that we have for people aren't like necessarily true, because even though she is like, I don't think I'm gonna like him because he's a pastor, he shows her how like different he is than the way that she views pastors. And I don't know, I think that this author is doing an incredible thing by turning every single freaking stereotype on its head. I love that. But I'm on chapter 14. I read like all last night, and I've been reading obviously this morning. But I think what I'm obsessing over with this book is how it feels very adult-like, in the sense that the like characters are going through real challenges. Like I feel like in high school books sometimes it's like, oh, like I don't know, you know what I mean? It's like the stuff that they're going through is like not that serious. Like someone didn't invite them to the dance, which it is at the moment. Like in that moment, that feels like the most like hardest thing you could ever go through. But like the things that these characters are going through feel very like true to their age, but they feel bigger than just like, I didn't get asked to the dance, or like I couldn't find a dress that I wanted, or whatever. Her and her best friend are actually like, she's going through a friendship breakup, and I feel like you don't see that enough in books where like people go through friendship breakups. I've been through some really harsh friendship breakups over the years. My first friendship breakup that I had was when I was like 11, and I remember we would hang out all the time. She was like my neighbor. We were super close. I was like, oh my God, this is my best friend. Like super close for probably like maybe 5 years or 6 years or something. Like we were just like really close. And then I think we got to be about like 11 years old, and I think this is what I think it was. She started to get a little bit more mature, like faster than me. So like she would shave her legs, like she was like kind of into boys. She also kind of wanted to do like different things than we wanted to do as kids. And I feel like I was still in the age where I was like, let's go outside and like, you know, play pretend or make believe or like whatever. And I totally get that now. Like, I mean, as adults, we all like, I feel gravitate towards people who maybe are on like similar playing fields as like what we want to do in life. You know what I mean? Like I like hanging around friends who want to talk about depth and who want to talk about like how they're growing and changing. And I feel like my old self wanted to just hang out with friends who like wanted to party and like go out. And there's nothing wrong with either versions of me, but they're just different versions of me. So for her, I remember when we were like 11, and I remember one time she was like, oh my God, you don't shave your legs? Like, like that's gross. Like you don't wear a bra, like gross. And I think it was just because she was becoming like maybe around people who were doing that. And I remember I called her to like hang out, and her mom answered, and she's like, oh, she can't hang out today. I was like, oh, like no problem. Called her the next day, because usually it was pretty typical. Like she would call me or I would call her and be like, hey, do you want to hang out? I'm gonna come over. Because my mom never wanted me to just like stop over. So I remember I called. Second day, she's like, oh, she can't hang out today. I was like, oh, well, can I talk to her? She's like, oh, she's like busy. I was like, okay. Like we live on the same block. And then I think I called the next day, and then she was like, oh, like she's busy. Like she can't come to the phone. And I remember I got off the phone and my mom said, do not call her again. And at the time I was like, why? Like she's just busy. Like she just can't answer the phone. Cause at the time I was like 11, you know, like I'm not thinking too deeply. I'm like, oh, she just like is busy. Her mom happened to answer the phone like 3 times. And I knew like when she came home from school, because we both got off like school around the same time. And I remember she like never called me back, and we never talked again after that. And I remember seeing her friends go over to her house, because we were neighbors. I would see her friends go over to her house, like come in and out of her house, and they would go places. And I just like felt so sad. And I, at the time, just felt so like sad, because I never really got an end to our story. You know, like I never really got like why she didn't want to be friends anymore or whatever. And I think I know now. Like, I just think we were just in different, like, places. But, you know, I was like, why don't you do, like, little stationary sticker packets? And she was, like, you know, thinking of, like, dances and stuff like that. So, I do think it took me a little bit longer to, like, get into boys and stuff than most people. Like, I didn't really start getting into, like, being interested in, like, boys until, like, probably 13. I'd say that's when I, like, pretty much got into, like, going to the mall and stuff like that. But yeah, and then I had another friendship breakup in, like, college that was, like, a really hard one for me. And, you know, I still think about how all of these moments with friendship breakups have impacted the way that I show up for my friends now, but also how I'm very, like, cautious with new friends, and I have to really push myself past that fear, because I still have the same fear that, like, one day someone's just not gonna, like, answer my call, or one day someone's just gonna, like, just disappear and just, like, ghost me, because, like, that has happened in the past. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like those conversations are so important, and I don't see that nearly enough in young adult books. So seeing it in this book, and how she's just like, forget her, like, I'm over her, like, she's just very like, I don't need her in my life. And her mom kind of instilled that in her from a young age. She was just like, hey, like, you don't need anyone, you can be independent. But her mom getting in this relationship is starting to open up her heart. And so she's like, maybe you do need to be more receptive and open to people, but also not, like, push people away. And she was kind of sharing how it's actually more vulnerable to be open to people and, like, share how you feel. And, like, it's actually a scarier thing because you trust them, you know what I mean? Like, you're trusting them to, like, be delicate and gentle with your heart, but also if you didn't care about them, like, you wouldn't want to have hard conversations, you know what I mean? So it's a really good book, and I didn't really know what to expect going into it, because I knew that it was about a girl who, like, plays video games, and she's, like, keeping that a secret, but there's so many other, like, little side stories that this is going off into, and it's making me think a lot about things. But also, the thing that I love most about young adult, I think now, because before I liked young adult because it would give me, like, a nostalgic feeling, so I'm like, ooh, like, I miss high school, I miss middle school, or whatever. Now I think what I love about young adult is when I can reflect on how, like, I navigated life then and how differently I navigate life now and how I want to navigate life in the future. Like, those are the things that make me love young adult books, and this is bringing out a lot of those types of thoughts, especially with, like, friendship breakups and, like, being yourself. Like, the main guy character, he's, like, nervous to share that he likes, like, this video game and stuff, and he's just like, I don't want to talk to anyone about that because it's, like, you know, weird or whatever. And then he gets so inspired because the main girl character, she's, like, totally open with what she loves and, like, what she likes to do, and he, like, loves that about her. And so I don't know, I just think that this is such a good book. I'm pretty close to being done. I'm on page 241, and this is the same author who wrote she wrote the Atlas 6, and it says Alexine Farrell Fulmuth is the author of the young adult rom-coms My Mechanical Romance and Twelfth Night. As Olivia Blake, she's a New York Times bestselling author of the Atlas 6, Alone with You in the Ether, One for My Enemy, and Masters of Death. So she has two different pen names, but she is Olivia Blake. She just has, like, a different pen name. So that's so interesting because her young adult books have one, like, name with them, and then her other books have another name with them. So if you read, like, Alone with You in the Ether, or you've read the Atlas 6, those are her books. This is just her young adult books. And I love when authors do that. Like, if they can spread their wings and write adult books, I feel like they will write the young adult books that I will resonate with. So really enjoying this. I feel like there's a lot of depth to it. I can't decide what exactly I'm going to rate it, but I am enjoying it. I started it on an audiobook, and I've been reading it in the physical book since I got done with, like, dinner and stuff yesterday. So, I am, let's see, the last page is 312, so I'm pretty close to being done. So I'll probably finish this and then give you guys a little update. So, one time, after your first round. decided that I'm gonna finish this tonight and I'm gonna start this tomorrow morning. Now, is that lofty? For sure, because we've only finished one book in this challenge and today's day 3. So we're more than halfway through this one, almost done. And I feel like if I read this one tonight, this in the morning, maybe we can get to that 4th book. I want to go to the bookstore, okay? There are some books that have come out, and this is the problem. I was telling Brady, like, he was like, oh, like, it's kind of cool that you can, like, shop your shelves because you have so many books on your shelves that you haven't read yet. And I was like, true, but there's so many books that keep coming out that I want to own. And I do love going to the library. Like, one of my next vlogs is gonna be a library vlog because, again, I love the library. But I feel like what I use the library for is trying new authors that I, like, am not sure if I want to, like, buy their book, or I don't know, that's, like, the biggest thing. Or sometimes, like, if I have a book that's been on my shelf for, like, a minute and I've heard a lot of bad reviews about it, sometimes I'll just read it at the library. I don't know what it is, but like the pressure of like having to return it makes me read the book. I don't know why. Like, You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty was one of those books. I got it from the library, read the library book, but it's been sitting on my shelf for a minute. But I bought a lot of my books when I was in a different, like, vibe. Like, I had different interests, and so I've given a lot of my books to free libraries that I just don't think I'm gonna pick up. But there's some that are like towing the line. Like, you guys in the last video when I was saying, or one of the last videos when I was like going through my bookshelf, you were saying that I need to keep the, what's the, Elin Harris, I think that's his name. You were saying that I need to keep his books. And I've never read anything of his, and I'm like, do I need to keep it? Like, do I really need to keep it? Because we're like, it's so good, you have to keep his books. That would be the perfect, like, library book rental. Like, if I get a book from the library and it's been on my shelf, it's just like sitting there, getting the library book makes me read it. I don't know, whatever. It's a free service, so I can do whatever I want with it. But that isn't primarily why I get library books. The biggest reason is trying new authors. I feel like my library does a great job of like bringing in books that I just like never even see at Barnes, never see at indie bookstores, never see online. And would honestly be worried that I'd be wasting my money because if I buy it and I haven't heard anyone talk about it, I don't know who the author is, maybe the back doesn't even look super interesting to me, but I know it's like a romance or a thriller, and like those are my genres that I enjoy. I feel like getting it from the library is like a safe bet because, I don't know, it's just like, it feels safer to me because it is free. So love the library, but I have some books that I want to pick up, like Frida McFadden's new book. I love having a physical copy of a book. Now, I do use my Kindle Unlimited, but I feel like I use it more in the winter because like it's sunny outside. So if it's sunny outside, like I just don't feel the need to pull it out nearly as much, but I love using my Kindle whenever the sun goes down and I'm like needing some light whenever I'm reading outside because I try to read outside every day. So I don't know, I'm weird when it comes to like books. I don't know, comment below if you guys have any like weird bookish quirks. Like, I have to have the font size looking a certain way. I love when the pages are white. I don't mind if they're like yellow, but if they're white, just like incredible. I love a book that has white pages. I also love a book that's super, super floppy. Like this one's pretty floppy. This is the kind that I like. There's certain things I love. I love books with dialogue. Like if there's tons of dialogue, like more the better. Those kinds of things are the things that really pull me in. But there are books that like I will read even if it doesn't have those things, but I don't know, I'm less likely to pick it up. But I'm gonna go outside, finish this, and then we'll start this probably tomorrow morning when I wake up at 5 to read. You know, one of my favorite parts of a book, I think my favorite part is when the characters have like tension between each other because they've been like trying not to get together. And then the moment they come together, all that tension is just like building, 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 and then it like explodes. That I think is one of my favorite parts in a book. And I just lost my page, but I'm gonna show you like a quote that I read that literally is like the perfect example of why I love this part of the book so much. And they get to a point where they've just been like teasing each other. Not really teasing, but kind of like they don't know if they want to like even try. And he goes, tell me no, Angel. Tell me to stop and I'll leave right now. We can forget it ever happened or we can slow it down. But if you tell me yes, if you tell me you want me, I'm going to carry you to your bedroom and worship your body from head to toe until you scream my name. And then I'm going to bury myself so deep inside you still feel me there tomorrow. I'm literally swooning. And this is like halfway through the book. And I like that because it wasn't something that happened like super fast. It definitely has like been building. Literally like sounds like running water, but I'm guessing it's just like water falling from somewhere. But yeah, it just, I don't know. I love those parts of books. And there's another part where I'm literally giggling, like just like the first time that like characters like get together, it literally makes me blush. There's a part where now this is spicy, so if you don't want to hear it, you can skip, but it's nothing like a spoiler or anything. And he goes, he's like, I want you to sit on my face. And she's like, my like thighs and like legs and like everything, they're like super, like they're not small. And he's like, I might suffocate you. And he goes, if I die between your thighs, I die a happy man. Put it on my headstone. I died worshiping a goddess. I died worshiping a goddess. Like, quotes like that are everything. Like, absolutely everything. And especially after like so much tension, like he's kissed her on her cheek one time. And like this whole book has just been building. And I love that. I feel like those are my favorite types of books. Like, some people will be like, oh, like you don't like spice. And it's not even that I don't like spice, because spice for me isn't the problem. The problem is when I don't feel the connection between the characters prior to the spice that they have. Like, they literally spent the night on the phone together until like 3 a.m. just like asking each other random questions and stuff. And that to me is also intimacy. And like, I need to read that in my books prior to them just like, you know, jumping each other. Because it's like, if you don't even know each other, like what's the point, you know? And you're like, oh, I'm obsessed with her, like I want to be with her. It's like, you don't know her, you only know what her body looks like. And that to me is like, you're literally just objectifying her as a person and like whittling her down to her parts, you know? So I just like, I love when characters really get a full like view of the person that they're starting to like have feelings for, because I don't know, and you can tell that he really sees her. There's a part where, and I don't want to spoil anything because I feel like this is a big part that has like made the book super intriguing, but she has like these little routines that she has to like do each night, and he like didn't know that, but like when they get ready to like do stuff, she's like, oh, like these routines are like on my mind, like I need to like do that. And what did he do? I have to find the page. Whenever they get into the bedroom, he's like, Sierra, are you okay? And she's like, I'm sorry, it's not you, I just have like these routines or whatever that I do for myself. And she's like, I didn't get to do them yet, I tried to ignore it because I want you so badly, but I'm kind of freaking out, honestly. And he's like, show me. And she's like, what? And he's like, show me the routine, I'll do it with you. And she's like, are you serious? And he goes, Angel, nothing is more important to me than, and I can't like say this because I don't want to spoil it. And he's like, if you need this, then let me give it to you. I want to be the only thought in your brain. When I sink into oh my god. And then like after her little routine, he's like, how do you feel? And then she was like, good, really good. And he's like, do you want to tell me about it? And then she goes, she first goes, do you want to ask me about that? Because like, she has this routine, but like, it's kind of like weird, but she didn't tell him what it was or like why she does it. And she's like, do you want to ask me about that? And he goes, do you want to tell me about that? And then she goes, not tonight. He's like, then I don't want to ask tonight. He's like, whenever you're ready. And that to me, like, that to me is intimacy. Like, knowing someone well enough to know that they're like not ready to open up, and you being like respectful enough to wait for them, but also letting them know that you're there whenever they are ready. I love when authors share bits and pieces of different types of intimacy and like knowing of a person, and like whenever they eventually, I'm assuming because it's a romance, whenever they eventually are like, I'm in love with you or whatever, it's like I believe it because you have shown it, but also you've opened yourself up enough as a character, or opened up the characters enough for me to fall in love with them separately and together. So this book, Natasha Bishop did it again. She did it again. I've decided I want to go pick up Freida McFadden's new book. I know. Have I read all 4 books that I plan on reading? No. Have I started my 3rd? Yes. So I'm proud of that. 4 books in 4 days, I feel like is a lofty goal. And goals are made to just be goals, right? Like, could I finish 4 books? Maybe. Like it's still kind of possible. I feel like 4 books in 4 days was definitely a lofty goal, especially because I haven't picked up any like novellas or anything, but I am on page 38 of this book. I'm enjoying it. It isn't like the type of thriller that I would normally pick up. Maybe I'll listen to it on audiobook some, because you guys said that the audiobook of this is really good, but I don't know. I don't normally read thrillers that are supposed to be kind of like funny, and I think that this is supposed to be kind of like funny. I don't know, maybe the humor just isn't like hitting. Granted, I'm only 38 pages in, so it could definitely like change, but I did start this. Will I finish 4 books? I don't know. But I don't want to hear it, okay? I don't want to hear it. We're gonna go to the bookstore. I love books, and I want to get Freida McFadden's new book, so let's go. So big on is how something is written, and one of my friends at the gym, she was telling me that she read The 4 Winds and loved it. I recommended it to her, so she recommended this book to me, which is American Dirt by Janine Cummings, and on the back it says Lydia lives in Appalachia. She has a son, Luca, the love of her life, and a wonderful husband who's a journalist, and while cracks are beginning to show in y'all, I don't even know how you pronounce that. Because of the cartels, Lydia's life is by and large fairly comfortable, but after her husband's tell-all profile of the newest drug lord is published, none of her lives will ever be the same. Forced to flee, Lydia and Luca find themselves joining the countless people trying to reach the United States. Lydia soon sees that everyone is running from something, but what exactly are they running to? And she said that this book is really good because she said it reminded her of like The 4 Winds, in a sense that like everyone during the Dust Bowl was like fleeing to like have a better life. Obviously they're fleeing in the United States, but she was saying that this like gave her so much more empathy for people on the border, because they're also fleeing from something and they have nowhere to go, in the same sense that like in The 4 Winds people were like fleeing to different areas because where they were coming from was completely destroyed, and like people were not receptive to them coming to that area. So I don't know, I just really feel like this would be a great story to read. But I opened up this book and the inside of it, just straight like no dialogue, like barely any, like every page is just like, you can always tell if there's dialogue based on the page breaks, and you can see there's barely any page breaks. It's like chunk of words, like there just aren't a ton. Now this page like has more dialogue, you can see the page breaks there, but that's like a super easy way to figure out like how much dialogue roughly is in the book, is like based on the page breaks, because usually authors don't have like people just talking like in chunks and chunks of paragraphs, you know. It's just like very rare. But I want to read this, so someone let me know if this book is like good or if you enjoyed it. I always feel like books are going to be boring if there's not enough dialogue, at least for me, because I'm like a dialogue heavy girl. But I have been getting into historical fiction and loving it, and I love the stories behind like the true things that are happening in the world, so then I can have like more empathy for people or more of an understanding of something. And this is it says over 2 million copies sold, and it's on Oprah's book club, so I feel like it would be really good. I just am like, is this gonna be boring? I don't know. So thinking about getting it, but I haven't fully decided yet. I've heard that this book is so good, and it's also on my list. It's supposed to be super lyrical though, so again, I'm very nervous about this one too. Specifically wanted to come over here for a new release by a Black author, and guys, look where it is. Okay, can you guess where it is? It's a new release, just came out, literally in this corner. There's one copy, and this is why I really like to like talk so much about diverse reads, because I feel like it's just so wild. Whenever I even go look for the books in the bookstore, I have a hard time finding them. And I'm not gonna show you guys the cover. I'll show you guys the cover in the car because it's such a cute cover and it looks like a really good book. But there's literally one copy, and it's like smushed in the corner, and it's like not front facing, or like, I mean, it's an orange book in like a sea of like black dark romance books. Obviously it's because the author's name like coincides with authors around it, but I don't know. And here's another like example of that too. This one right here, this is a book I actually really loved, super cute. Down here there's one copy, and it's like in this little area, like you can't even really see it unless you're looking for it. You're not gonna be able to find it. And so I don't know, I love that like more diverse reads are coming to Barnes, but I just wish that they would get more, because even like this Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez, there's like two, it's a bunch here, 3. It's just like, I don't know. I tried to find these books, and I didn't even know that this book was actually in Barnes, so I'm glad. I came over to get the newest book by Lynn Painter, and guys, it's literally sold out. It's not down here, and I already asked someone if they had any copies in the back or anything, and they said they don't. And then they have this whole table set up over here. It's also not here either. These are all special editions, which literally get me every single time, because it's like, okay, I want to buy all these because they're so pretty, but they don't have any of the new copies. They're all sold out, and it just came out, and that was one of the books I wanted to pick up today. This audiobook is good. So I like listened to the audiobook on the way to the bookstore and on the way back from the bookstore. And I think what I like most is there's like little sound effects to it. Also the podcast. Okay, I haven't even told you what this book is about. So it's a thriller, obviously. And everyone thinks that this girl, Lucy, I think it's her name, killed her best friend. And honestly, I don't know what happens, but like initially I was like, oh, she for sure did it. Like she for sure did it. And now I'm like, okay, did she do it? Like, I don't know. And I don't know if this is like a spoiler. I want to look in the inside and see if this is a spoiler. Okay, I don't want to say like this part, but like I don't want to spoil anything, because I feel like it's been nice just going into this pretty blind. Like someone at my gym told me that this was good to read, and then also you guys said that it was good to listen to on audiobook, which I've been doing both. And I think that it would be one of those audiobooks that honestly I could just listen to like fully. But I do like reading and immersing myself in a book if I have the book. You know, I already bought it, so it's like, why not like read the physical copy? But what I do like, now that I've been like reading it since I've been home, I do like that there's tons of dialogue. Like dialogue after dialogue after dialogue. Like there's so much dialogue. It is not boring at all. It's super fast paced. I will say that like kind of right off the bat, I didn't know how I felt, because it kind of gave the vibe of like trying to be funny. And I don't know if that's like my type of vibe for a thriller, but I am enjoying it now. I have no idea what I'm gonna rate this. I think that it'll really come down to how it ends, and how I feel whenever we get to the ending, and who the murderer ends up being. Like, I don't know, because right now I'm like, okay, I feel like I know who it is. But then it's like, if the person who I think it is who I think it is, then that would be kind of predictable at this point. Like, it's one of those books that I'm like, okay, this could have like a twist, or it could like really get me. And I will say that I'm the type that can easily like be confused in a thriller. Like I don't need thrillers that have like too intricate of a plot. Like it just needs to be interesting enough where I just don't want to put it down. And that is definitely this book. It's keeping me super invested. I don't think I told you guys this. The book is about a girl who like everyone thinks she killed her best friend, but this podcaster, he's like in town, and he's like, I want to get like the true story, because like no one ever figured out what actually happened, because there like wasn't enough evidence. And so you're getting the podcast, and you like, at least on the audiobook, you get to listen to him on the podcast and like interviewing all these people who never wanted to do interviews before, and like people that knew the girl, and like people who were at this specific event, like all these people. And in the interviews, like you can hear like when someone pushes their chair back, and there's like different voices. Like it is very, very good for an audiobook. And I'm pretty picky with audiobooks. Not that I listen to any audiobook. Like I've listened to AI audiobooks where it's like literally AI like did the whole audiobook. Like I've listened to audiobooks like that, but I don't enjoy those as much. Like, it's very rare for me to be like, I just want to listen to a full audiobook. Usually I like to tandem read, where I'll listen if I'm in the shower or if I'm driving, if I'm cooking, cleaning, like, you know, putting away the dishes, just things like that where I can't physically read. But usually I'm like always gravitating towards the book. But now I'm kind of like, I'm gravitating towards the audiobook, which is so rare because it's just such a good audiobook. They have so many different voice actors. Like, there's a grandma, she has a different voice. The mom has a different voice. Like, the podcast guy, the husband, like the best friend, all the things. Like, there's so many different voice actors, and I feel like that's what makes it like more real. So I'm enjoying it so far. It's a thriller that I am not wanting to put down. I'm on page 159 and it goes to 333. So I definitely am gonna finish this because, again, it's like lots of dialogue, so you can like flip the pages super fast. Like, it'll be like, no, yes, no, fair point, do you trust me? Like, it is very fast paced. So I'm gonna finish this up and then I will give you guys my thoughts and the book haul too. We're gonna do a little wrap up of the 3 books that I read. I didn't read 4, but I feel like this is close enough to my goal. Like, 3 books in 4 days, that's a lot. Like, that is a lot to read. Normally I read like 3 books roughly in a week. Like, that's my usually like what I read, and like a full week. 3 to 4, it just depends on like how much I can read. But 3 books in 4 days, and it like the full 4th day isn't even over yet. Yeah, this is great. Like, this is great. I do think that reading in the morning helped a lot. Like, I always like to read a little bit in the morning before work. But I did prioritize more time in the evening to read as well. And then I also got some books from Barnes. I'm gonna give you guys my little book wrap up first. So we'll start with 12th Night. This book was really cute. I really loved how there were so many different stereotypes that were kind of turned on their head. I feel like if you're someone who doesn't normally like YA, you'll like this. And this same author is actually Olivia Blake, is that her name? Who wrote Alone with You in the Ether, and she also wrote The Atlas Six. So keep that in mind if you want to pick up this book. The writing definitely feels like adult writing, but it's still like easy to read. It's not like hard to read at all. I will say that I think, I bent a page. I will say I think that I would like this book a lot more if I were a gamer. Like, I like playing games, but I don't play like a ton of them. And most of the ones that I play are like on my computer. Sometimes I play a few on my phone, but I just don't play a ton of cozy games. I'm getting into it though, but if you're a cozy gamer, I feel like this is the book for you. It's so rare to see female characters that are like really good. Like, she's the best like player at this game, and that's why she had to keep her like player anonymous, and like she didn't want anyone to know it was her because she just didn't want people to like treat her differently when she was playing the game. And so it talks a lot about that. If you like cozy games, you will love this book. For me, it was very cute. I think I'm gonna rate this one 3 stars. They just had a lot of like game lingo, and they talked a lot about the game, and then whenever they were playing the game, they would like explain kind of what they were doing. But I feel like if you love gaming, you would like eat this up. But again, I just like don't play games like that often. So definitely a really good read, very, very enjoyable. And then I wanted to share my thoughts for Listen for the Lie. Really love this book. It is very different than a typical thriller. It's kind of quirky. Like, there's a quirky grandma. Everyone in this book is a cheater and a liar. Like, this is, it doesn't read like, it's super fast paced like a thriller, but it doesn't really read like a thriller because nothing really thrilling is happening. The thrilling part is trying to figure out who killed like the best friend, and that to me like kept me invested. But I will say the thrillers that I normally go for, the ones that are like, you know, they're like hiding, they're crouched down, like they were kidnapped, like, you know, that kind of thing where it's like very high stakes. And this was like lower stakes more because the police weren't like looking for the killer because they had kind of already just like washed their hands of the case, and the podcaster was the one who was like trying to figure out who did it, and is like kind of getting into everybody's business to figure it out and like find out what like actually happened. So the stakes weren't super high. I do think that the book definitely takes you through some twists and turns. Like you start thinking like, oh, is it this person or that person? Like you just don't really know, and I really love that about this book. I think I'm gonna rate this one 3.5 out of 5 stars. Again, very enjoyable. This is a new author to me for thrillers, and I will definitely be reading more from this author because I liked how much dialogue was in this. I also liked the audiobook, so if they have more audiobooks in the future, maybe I will listen to the audiobook fully and not like read it all. Really enjoyed this one. It was very, very good. I will say I've never rated a thriller 5 stars, so maybe that would be a cool video idea in the future, is to like see if I can find a thriller that's a 5-star thriller. Like the highest I think I've rated a thriller is like 4 or 4.5. Like that's, like for me, most thrillers are mid. Like I do love reading thrillers, but like for me, it's weird because I love a fast-paced popcorn thriller, but I also love an intricate thriller. But intricate thrillers sometimes bore me a bit because it's like too wordy. But then the fast-paced thrillers, they don't really have as much like intricate, deep thought. They're just like fast and fun, like you just gobble them up. So I almost wish I could find a thriller that had the perfect balance of both, like tons of dialogue like this one, but is like very intricate and thought-provoking and like makes me like, I'm just not sure like what's gonna happen kind of thing. But it's also like, I just can't like put it down. Haven't found it yet, but I do love reading thrillers. Like I will never not want to read a thriller. Also, it's interesting. I have so many different genres that I read in this. I read The 12th Night, and I also read Listen for the Lie, and then I read Where We Found Our Home by Natasha Bishop. This is the first book in the Lost and Found series. Love this book. 4 stars, so good. I love Natasha Bishop's books, and genuinely, if you've never read anything of hers and you are like wanting to get into a Black author that is like very fast-paced writing, like a book that you won't want to put down, that has like tons of dialogue, that's like has lots going on, you will love this. There's a plot point in this book that is actually not on the back of the book, because like they kind of have secrets and like baggage, so you just don't really know what's gonna happen. I'm not gonna spoil it, but it kept me super invested. And I read the 3rd book in this series. Where is it? This one right here, Where We Found Our Passion. And I actually liked Where We Found Our Home even more than Where We Found Our Passion. I really enjoyed this one too though. So definitely start at the beginning of the series. I have seen a lot of people talk about the 3rd book, which is why I read this one first, because a lot of people I think read this one first, so they just started recommending it first. So in my head I thought, oh, the 1st and like 2nd book probably aren't good. No, the 1st book is great. It is very good. Spicy, but also has like a very good plot point. Like the girl is running from something and the guy, he like has some baggage and they're kind of coming together, but they both are struggling to like trust. It's good. It's fast paced. It's good. It isn't one of those that has like a wild amount of like depth. You know what I mean? Like there's not a ton of like quotable stuff. But it's one of those that like you will literally eat up so fast in like a day, because it just, there's constantly stuff happening and like it's good. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me give you this book haul before I forget. I was about to say goodbye. I got some good books in here. The first book that I got was the one I actually went in for, which is The Boyfriend by Freed McFadden. This one says she's looking for the perfect man. He's looking for the perfect victim. I don't even really know what this is about, but I feel like I want to go into it kind of blind because I always love her thrillers anyway. And I kind of am glad that this is not in the Housemaid series. Like I just am kind of over the Housemaid series. I really like The Teacher by her, so I feel like I'm going to like this one more than The Housemaid. I read The Housemaid recently, or The Housemaid Secret. The 3rd one, I read that one recently and it was like not my favorite. So really excited for this one. Her books I just usually eat up in like a day. And then I also picked up this book, which I kind of teased it a little bit in there. It's called Love and Sports Ball by Mika James. And it says, in this steamy and sweet sapphic romance, an uptight athletic trainer has one taboo night with a hot basketball player, but are they ready to play for what they really want? I mean, it looks cute. Like the cover of this is literally what I was trying to show you guys in the bookstore. It is just so freaking cute. And it just came out, like I think this month, so I definitely want to pick this one up soon. You guys know that I love Black authors books, but I also love like just different diverse reads, and I love finding sapphic romances that have like Black characters. I feel like we don't see enough of that, so love, 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 love this. And then I also picked up a book that one of you guys recommended. It's called By Her Own Design, and it's by Piper Hughley, and this is it says the incredible untold story of how Anne Lowe, a Black woman and granddaughter of slaves, rose above personal struggles and racial prejudice to design and create one of America's most famous wedding dresses of all time for Jackie Kennedy. So I think she created the wedding dress, and she didn't get the recognition for it that she definitely deserves. This book is set, I think, in 1953, 1981, like somewhere in that timeline, 1916, like it has on the back, it says, based on the true story of one of the most famous designers of 1920s through the 1960s, who has since been unjustly forgotten. By Her Own Design is an unforgettable novel about determination despite countless obstacles, and a triumph celebrated by the world. That's so wild that there's so many Black women, Black men, just people of all diverse backgrounds that just have really been forgotten when it comes to like history and important moments. And I guess she was not given the recognition for that dress, and so this story was written for her. So yeah, these are the 3 books that I picked up: a thriller, a romance, a sapphic romance, and a historical fiction book. So 3 different types of books, but I love that I've been reading different books lately and not just like sticking to one thing. So this made reading even more fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys on Tuesday in the next one. Bye guys.